think? You think he's gonna be able to make it out?
Right now, at this very moment, 150 million Americans are under cold weather advisories or extreme cold warnings. If you live anywhere from the Great Lakes to the Northeast, the next 7 days will bring dangerously cold conditions that meteorologists are calling a once-in-a-generation February pattern. According to the National Weather Service, wind chills could plunge to -40 degrees in parts of New York, Pennsylvania, and New England by Saturday morning. That is cold enough to cause frostbite on exposed skin in under 10 minutes. Here is what nobody else is telling you. In the next several minutes, I am going to give you the exact timing for when this Arctic front arrives in your specific city. Not general information. Exact times. When it starts, when the cold peaks, when it finally moderates. But first, you need to understand why this pattern is so different and so dangerous. Before I continue, I need your help. Drop your location in the comments right now. Tell me where you are watching from so I can give you an update on what to expect in your area. Everyone watching from the same region will benefit from knowing what their neighbors are experiencing. Do it now while I continue with this forecast. This same weather pattern has already claimed over 137 lives across the country from the January storm. 35,000 homes in Tennessee remain without power as we speak. Another Arctic blast is now bearing down on the same devastated regions. Here is the important part. The Great Lakes region faces persistent lake-effect snow and bitter cold over the next several days. If you live anywhere from Minnesota to Michigan, pay close attention to what I am about to tell you. Monday morning, you will wake up to snow showers across Wisconsin, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and portions of Lower Michigan. Not a blockbuster event, but enough to make the Monday morning commute slick and dangerous. Here is the important part. Accumulations of up to 1 inch are possible in localized areas across the region. Detroit, your snow arrives Monday morning. Light at first, just enough to coat the roads. By mid-morning, conditions improve, but temperatures remain stuck in the 20s. Wind chills will hover in the single digits throughout Monday afternoon. Minneapolis, you are looking at wind chills below 0 to start your Monday. -10 to -20 degrees is possible in southern Canada and the northern tier states. Bundle up if you are heading out. Frostbite can occur in 30 to 45 minutes in these conditions. Lake Erie has been mostly covered with ice this season, which is limiting lake-effect snow along the southern shore. But do not be fooled. Lake Michigan and Lake Superior remain active, and bands of snow will continue to develop through midweek. By Tuesday morning, sub-zero wind chills return with a vengeance. North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin will see -10 to -20 degrees. Here is what nobody else is telling you about this region. Wednesday looks to be the quietest day of the week. Use that window wisely, because what comes after demands attention. The Ohio Valley faces a complex week ahead with multiple rounds of light snow and reinforcing shots of Arctic air. If you live anywhere from Ohio to West Virginia to Virginia, the pattern keeps you unsettled through the weekend. Tuesday evening brings a chance of light snow across Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia, and southern Ohio. Again, not a blockbuster event by any stretch of the imagination, but enough to whiten the ground and create slick spots on untreated roads. Pittsburgh. Your temperatures will struggle to reach 30 degrees through midweek. Wind chills in the teens. By Friday, another clipper system races through with additional snow chances. Columbus, you are in the transition zone. Snow develops Tuesday into Wednesday, with light accumulations possible. Here is the important part. The real concern is what arrives by the weekend. That Arctic front dragging through Thursday and Friday will reinforce dangerously cold air. Comment below right now with your city and state. I will personally give you the exact forecast for your location. Thousands of viewers are already doing this and getting critical information that could help them prepare. Do not wait. Type your location now. Snowfall accumulations between now and Saturday, February 7th could reach several inches across Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. The heaviest totals will reside along the Appalachian Mountains, where elevation enhances snowfall. But that is not the only region facing challenges. What is developing in the Northeast demands serious attention. The Southeast is still reeling from what meteorologists called a historic winter storm. This same region that just experienced once-in-a-generation snow is now watching the forecast anxiously. North Carolina. Listen carefully. Your state just recorded some of the most significant snowfall totals in recent memory. Faust in the Walnut Mountains saw 22.5 inches. Lexington received 16 inches. Charlotte tied its fourth highest single-day snowfall in city history with 11 inches at Douglas Airport, matching a record from December 1880. All 100 North Carolina counties received snow from this storm. Here is the important part. Governor Josh Stein warned that roads will take days to a week to fully clear. Over 1,000 traffic collisions were reported. 2 fatalities from road accidents. More than 100 vehicles were stranded on Interstate 85 in Cabarrus County. 33 local states of emergency remain in effect. On the Outer Banks, another beachfront home collapsed into the Atlantic Ocean on February 1st. That is the 28th home collapse since 2020. Hurricane force winds up to 60 miles per hour battered the coast. Snow drifts reached 4 feet high on Emerald Isle Beach. Tennessee remains in crisis. 35,000 homes are still without power as of Sunday. Nashville Electric Service reported peak outages of 230,000, the highest in utility history. Full power restoration is not expected until February 4th or 5th. 12 confirmed weather-related fatalities in Tennessee alone. Mississippi recorded its worst winter storm since 1994. 56,000 customers remain without power. 10 confirmed storm-related deaths. 80 warming centers are open statewide with National Guard troops delivering supplies by truck and helicopter. The forecast for the next region could change everything. This is the forecast that demands the most attention. The Northeast is about to face a reinforcing Arctic blast that the National Weather Service is calling dangerous. This is not hype. This is not exaggeration. This is a legitimate historic cold pattern returning to a region that has already been devastated. Remember those 150 million people under cold weather advisories I mentioned at the start? For the millions in the Northeast, those numbers translate to life-threatening wind chills by Saturday morning. Here is the important part. High-resolution weather models are now showing wind chills of -40 degrees in upstate New York, Pennsylvania, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine by Saturday, February 7th. Let me repeat that. -40 degrees. In some locations, -50 is possible in Quebec and Ontario. Albany, your Arctic front arrives Thursday evening. By Friday morning, temperatures drop into the single digits. But do not be fooled. The coldest air arrives overnight Friday into Saturday. Saturday morning wind chills will be dangerous enough to cause frostbite in under 10 minutes. Boston, listen carefully. This is important. Your window of relatively moderate temperatures closes by Thursday afternoon. Expect temperatures to crash Friday, with wind chills below zero by Saturday morning. New York City. You are in a unique position. The city saw wind chills of -4 degrees just this past Sunday morning. 20 million pounds of snow were melted using the hot tub system. Communication cables fell from elevated subway tracks onto parked cars due to the frigid temperatures. By Saturday, conditions could be even more extreme. For those who have never experienced cold like this, here is what to expect. Your face stings the moment you step outside. Your breath crystallizes in the air. Car engines struggle to turn over. Pipes freeze and burst if homes lose power. This is the reality for millions of people across the Northeast this weekend. If you are in the affected area, comment your location below. I am reading every single comment and responding with specific information for your area. Hundreds of people have already done this. Do not wait. For the millions across the Northeast, the question now is not whether conditions will be difficult. It is how difficult, and for how long. The pattern supports continued cold well into mid-February. Looking ahead, the weather pattern across the United States is set for significant changes through mid-February. Through Wednesday, expect relatively quiet conditions across most of the country. That ridge in the west continues to bring mild air to the Pacific Northwest and Rockies. Seattle, Portland, and the coast remain above normal. By Thursday and Friday, here comes the Clipper system. A strong 989 millibar low develops over Hudson Bay and eastern Canada. That Arctic front drags through the Great Lakes and Northeast with both snow and reinforcing cold air. Here is the important part. By next weekend, February 8th, the Pacific Northwest gets more active. Higher elevation snow returns to the Cascades. Lower elevation rain across Seattle, Portland, Medford, and Eugene, extending into Northern California and northwestern Nevada. But here is what nobody else is telling you yet. The stratospheric polar vortex is showing a split pattern. One lobe over Asia and Europe, another over North America. What this means is significant. Cold air leaking from the stratosphere takes 1 to 2 weeks to reach the surface. That timing points to another Arctic outbreak in mid to late February. Looking at the period from February 15th through 22nd, models are showing a potential major winter storm track from eastern Colorado to Maine. Everywhere in between could see significant snowfall. The signal is growing. The Carolinas could get back in on the snowfall by the last week of February. I will have a full forecast update early next week, breaking down what develops. Make sure you do not miss it. With these forecasts in mind, here is what you need to know for travel and safety. This is not just about cold temperatures. We are looking at dangerous wind chills, icy roads, and potential flight disruptions all happening simultaneously. 3 threats at once. The travel situation has been catastrophic. Charlotte Douglas International Airport saw 1,800 flights canceled over the weekend. 800 of Sunday's cancellations were at Charlotte alone. Atlanta reported over 600 flight cancellations Saturday. American Airlines called the January 25th storm the most disruptive in the airline's 100-year history, with over 9,000 flights canceled. Here is the important part. If you must travel through the Northeast this week, your window is Tuesday through early Thursday. After that, conditions deteriorate rapidly. Do not be that person stuck at the airport waiting for a flight that will not leave. Prepare now. Not tomorrow morning. Now. If you live in areas expecting sub-zero wind chills, make sure you have supplies to shelter in place. Check on elderly neighbors. Bring pets inside. Make sure vehicles have emergency kits with blankets, food, and water. For those in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Louisiana still recovering from the previous storm, additional resources are available. National Guard troops are delivering supplies. 80 warming centers are open in Mississippi alone. If you or someone you know needs help, reach out to local emergency services. Beyond the immediate forecasts, the long-range pattern tells an important story. The period from February 8th through 15th shows Arctic air remaining entrenched across the Northeast, while milder temperatures begin building in the middle of the country. That spike in temperatures typically happens after a 7 to 10-day period of Arctic air. But watch the period from February 15th through 22nd. That Arctic air is reloading in Alaska and Western Canada. Models show it moving east in short order as we approach the last week of February. The 22nd through 28th looks particularly active. The cold air pushes back across the eastern seaboard. The Carolinas, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast could all see additional snowfall chances. Here is the important part. Overall, February into the first few days of March looks persistently snowy for the Ohio Valley and especially the Northeast. The Pacific Northwest also becomes more active toward the middle of the month. This winter is far from over. Let us recap what we have covered. The Great Lakes face persistent lake-effect snow and sub-zero wind chills through the week. The Ohio Valley sees light snow Tuesday and Wednesday with reinforcing cold by the weekend. The Southeast continues recovering from historic snowfall, while the Northeast braces for wind chills approaching -40 degrees by Saturday. 150 million people remain under cold weather advisories. Over 137 lives have been lost from the January storms. 35,000 homes in Tennessee are still without power. The coldest air in some areas since 1989. I will be tracking this minute by minute. If you want real-time updates, drop your location in the comments. Tell me where you are watching from. I will give you personalized forecasts as conditions develop. Hundreds of people are already doing this and getting critical updates. Share this video with everyone you know in the affected areas. They need to see this. This is not hype. This is not exaggeration. I hope everyone stays safe. I hope the forecasts verify on the lower end of expectations. But the models are consistent, and the pattern is locked in. You have been warned. You have the information. What you do with it is up to you. Here is the important part. Weather like this demands respect. Check on your neighbors. Stock up on supplies. Stay off the roads when conditions are dangerous. We will get through this together. Tell us in the comments, what weather are you experiencing right now? Are you ready for what is coming?